Hey everyone, this is Chris Kies for Premier Guitar. We're hanging out in Louisville, Kentucky. That's right, Louisville, not Nashville. My friend Dallas. Dallas, how you doing?
How's it going, man? Thanks for coming up, man.
Absolutely, my friend. Dallas is a member of Pelican, and funny story here, guys. Two things. First, this is the first time we've ever done a rig rundown after you guys have rocked out, so that's cool.
Secondly, and we blew the PA.
Twice they blew the PA. Trevor did. Secondly, in the comments section of the rig rundown for Mike Sullivan and the Russian Circles, you guys mentioned we should do one with Pelican. Dallas is a fan. Checked it out.
I'm a Premier Guitar super fan.
Check this out.
I drive my wife totally crazy with the rig rundowns. And then she found out they're doing a rig rundown? Really? They care about you?
Yeah.
I'm like...
Hits us up, and so dreams do come true. We do read your comments. We hate most of them, but thank you very much for the suggestions, because this is what happens.
Yeah.
Enough of that stuff, Dallas. Please tell me about this monster that is like 3 guitars in one.
All right, well, I'm gonna start with my fingers. Okay. And there's my pick. I got a large Jazz III.
Have you always played those, or is that?
Yeah, I used to use steel picks, and they were shredding my strings. Like they would, after one show, it would just, and I would start sweating, and then I would drop them.
Yeah.
And then at a music store, when I first moved to Chicago, they had these, and I tried them, and it kind of gave me the best of both worlds, and it has kind of the logo is, sticks up, and I never hardly drop these, very rarely. So it kind of, they don't wear down too fast.
What do you like about the steel ones before these? Because our editor-in-chief, Sean, he loves the steel picks.
I love the attack, and like how you can really hear, it just cuts.
Yeah.
And I feel like your first stage of EQ is really your hands and your pick. or what you do. So it really kind of like, it just had more attack, and I've been playing these over about 10 years now. And then more and more like going on guitars, I don't like to have too much to think about and mess with, so that's why I just went with the one pickup, one knob, real basic. And my buddy in Nashville, Dave Johnson, good friend of mine, and he lived in Chicago before he moved to Nashville, and I offhanded mentioned this design to him.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any money at the time.
No.
And so then he ended up, hey, I'm moving to Nashville. And then he didn't know anybody. He called me, dude, I want to get some work going.
Yeah.
Just buy the wood and I'll build it for you. Just pay me whenever. I need to stay busy. All right. So he built it for me, and then it kind of ended up, and I was like, well, dude, I don't want to ship it back to Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come see my family and whatnot, and just hold on to it. And then he met a mutual friend, Bo. He works at Carter Vintage now, but he worked at Gruhn. And somehow mutual friends, he came over, and Dave found out he worked at Gruhn, and Dave asked him if he's hiring, and he was like, yeah, give me your card. And they called him, and they bring your resume, and he brought this guitar, and it got him a job at Gruhn.
That's cool.
This guitar got him a job at Gruhn. He worked there for a bunch of years, and now he's kind of doing his own thing, just building.
Cool.
And then he works part-time, I think, at Carter Vintage.
Oh, killer.
Yeah, so.
But talk to me about like the 3 key aesthetics that people are seeing here, so they can kind of combine everything.
Okay, just
give us the Dallas Thomas signature.
My favorite kind of thing is the Gibson Marshall hybrid. Like, I don't know, just something about, but a lot of the Gibsons I would buy, it's just like they were too expensive, or if I could buy one I could afford, I couldn't keep it in tune, I just kind of, it was my Gibson custom model that I couldn't afford, and he put a lot more TLC into it, and he's always tweaking it. If we even changed out the frets for me, I was like, try jumbo frets. I'm like, dude, this is what I like. So it was like a total education of like what I like and the woods, and so.
Do you know so what is the body here?
It's all mahogany.
Okay.
It's all mahogany, ebony fretboard. So it was just like, I want a Frankenstein of Gibson. I was like, SG, Les Paul, Flying V. So that was kind of the idea. But dude, feel how heavy this guy is.
That's crazy, because normally SGs are the lighter.
Yeah, and
Gibsons.
I think it's like from association. It's like Les Paul heavy.
Yeah.
Like it. I don't know if it's everybody touches this thing. They're like, oh, dude,
like,
another buddy, my buddy Trey in Nashville, he named this Centaur. He's like, dude, this is like take out a Centaur. So I've been trying to maybe type Centaur on there, but But anyway.
Yeah. But what about pickup? What do you got in there? And did you
changed out a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. I changed out a bunch. And so actually, to get to pickups, we go to this one. So this one actually, it took a lot of work to get it. I got it in 2010. And then we built it, and it was just like, it was so heavy. It took a while to get it broke in. So I had him build me this one. So this one is made of kind of like the standard Fender style woods.
Okay.
So you got an ash body, maple neck, rosewood fretboard. Just as kind of like an experiment.
Is it a little brighter than I imagine?
Oh yeah, and it's way lighter too.
Well, yeah, brighter and lighter.
Yeah,
Name of the game.
So this one kind of became my number one with Pelican for a long time. And I had a Pike pickup in there. And it was super bassy and it was awesome on the low end. But when I got to the high, it was just super thin.
Yeah.
And then I got this is a finger burner, and I think these are 11K. And man, when I put that in it, it kind of tightened the low end and it filled out the high end a lot better.
Both those are lace, right?
Yeah,
to
and
make
it's
sure
a ceramic. It's a ceramic magnet.
Okay.
And I think the output is 11K, I think.
Yeah.
And so, and it seemed to work really well with Trevor's because he has like Alnico and like a 70s SG.
Yeah.
And his tone's a lot smoother and darker, and this is just a lot more like tighter. And I felt like it fit in the frequency spectrum a little better.
So you guys pay attention to that. That was one question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Whether you or Trevor's you guys think about that as a band that has no vocals, so you have a lot more range to go with.
And it's awesome because we have more frequency range that we can play with. We don't have to compromise guitars because of vocals. You don't have to do a side chain compressor with the vocals on the guitars every time the vocals come in or anything, or so we can just do. And so then so I've really really thought a lot about it. And this guitar has been a champ. Like it stays in tune. It's been to Russia, it's been to Turkey, it's been to Australia. I mean, dude, it just.
And is this one that that you used on Forever Becoming, or was the other one?
Okay. Yeah, this is the guitar I use on Forever Becoming.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, and so.
Is this the one that you were telling us before, sorry to interrupt, was that you almost lost in your interchange?
In Finland, I got lost in Finland at an airport and I had a total meltdown in front of the Hot Chip and between the Buried and me. I had a total meltdown, and the dude from Hot Chip had his kid there, and I was just like, where's my guitar? And there was this little kid right there.
You went Costanza on it. You just lost it.
Yeah. Well, on the same tour, they lost my pedal board.
They got it out for you.
Yeah, that one tour. And then my dog got sick, and then he died when I got home.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Well, shit.
So anyway.
Back to guitars.
Let's go back to the happy stuff. So, so this guitar kind of became my main Pelican one. And I had another band that I was playing like a fifth interval tuning, and then I used that one. And then I ended up with another finger burner. And I was like, you know what? I need to put the same pickup in both guitars just for my own, like what the wood does.
Yeah.
So to have like kind of a bass level running through the same rig, because there's no way if you have a different pickup or whatever, you don't have a really accurate thing. So I was like, okay, I'll put the same pickup. And then, so I got another a finger burner, and I put it in that one and got it tuned up in B standard. And then the guy that put it together, he's like, and I've been playing guitar 30 years and I never thought about this. And this was the hugest quotient that I felt like an idiot. He was like, what Owen pot do you put in that? And I was like, I don't know what it is. And I'm at the shop and I was like busy and dropping it off. I'm like, I don't know what goes in a Les Paul Custom.
Yeah.
500K.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, do that. So he puts a 500K pot in there, and then I run it through my rig. I was like, yeah, this is different. And then I was like, man, I wonder what this is. I don't know. And so I cracked on the back. This is a 250K.
Which one do you like?
They're different.
Yeah.
So overall, I like this one better.
What do you feel like the different resistance
It's tighter.
Okay.
It's tighter. So I didn't really learn as much about the wood as I did about what the OM pot
Like
does.
the throttle almost. It's
Yeah, but then it kind of blew. I was like, dude, it makes sense. It starts with your fingers, your pick, then your knob. It's so important.
We think about everything else, but we kind of overlook the simple things that,
it's super important. Know what pot you got. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so I still don't know what the wood is doing because I'm like, well, I kind of like what this guitar does for certain things.
Yeah.
I almost wish I had like a pedal switcher. Like on this part, I could play this guitar, and then you hit a button, and that other guitar, like,
well, you can get like a guitar, Audio, a double one, double
maybe
neck.
some guitar model. Yeah. But this one is kind of become my number one.
Okay.
But it's so heavy. Like I kind of alternate it. So.
Yeah. I thought when you were headbanging, I thought that was more the music, but apparently it's just the
it's
guitar.
It's my shoulder giving out. But more and more, this one just seems to sit in the mix better.
Okay.
I've just had some other like guitar nerd, audio nerds, like when I switch back and forth, they're like, I don't know, man. I'm like, which is kind of not what I want to hear. My back doesn't want to hear.
Yeah.
So, I'm probably going to record with this guy. But when we do fly dates and stuff, the maple neck is so much more stable.
Yeah.
I've had issues with temperature, adjust like the tuning.
Yeah.
And it's a little more, you got to watch your tuning a little more. I guess it's just the wood it's a little more sensitive to temperature.
Are you guys tuned always to B then?
B standards,
okay,
everything.
Always.
Yeah.
And then string companies.
Diodario, just 13 to 56.
Yeah.
Just off the shelf.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. And
and
third guitar.
Yeah.
You got two pickups in this one.
Well, this one isn't mine. It's a loaner. My really good friends in Chicago, they start really making some nice stuff. This is all walnut.
It's beautiful.
The Versus guitars is what this is, and ebony fretboard, and it's more like Les Paul. It's chambered. I'm totally into it, but what messes me up, this is kind of a loaner. They want me to try it out, but I've talked with them to maybe make one that's one pickup, one knob.
Yeah.
Because if I was playing, I'd be like
all day.
Yeah. So, but man, it's really, really nice, and I just really, with like Guitar Center talking about going out of business and Gibson going out of business, it's like these are like real dudes making really good stuff, and just like I just really want to support stuff like that. So like
the idea of calling up a friend like that, whether it's a guy in Nashville or these guys in Chicago.
Yeah. And so these guys are Versus Guitars in Chicago, and they make beautiful stuff. They make cabinets, and they're winding their own pickups. They just really started doing that, and I'm. That's what's beauty when I have two. So I have like kind of a barometer, because even though there is the different ohm of pot, they're not like I can plug it into my rig and I don't have to, adjust
still
anything.
Kind of there,
Yeah, they kind of react different.
Yeah.
So that's what's good. So if I break a string, I can just grab the other one, tune it, and go. I don't have to like the volume's different or so. But these are Alnico, and they're wound and it reacts different. So if I'm gonna, but to see if I can beat it, So who knows? I might have them wind me pickups for both guitars.
Gotcha.
But I kind of have everything dialed in for those for now, so we're gonna experiment with that.
What's your philosophy with those two guitars in terms of? I know that with the pickup selector, you obviously don't want it there, and that might be something you'll change. But why do you not want a neck pickup? Is it?
I just don't use
stuff
it.
The tone? Okay.
I don't use it, and I sculpt and filter everything through my pedal board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it does for clean. It sounds so nice when you're doing the neck pickup.
Yeah.
But when you hit heavy, it's too muddy. Mm-hmm. And I just rather just kind of scale in and maybe add bass to my clean sound on my pedal board, and just not have that extra. So I can do this or I can do that, and I'm not, I'm on the wrong. Or it needs to be down here. But then again, I want the narrowest signal path from my fingers to the speakers as possible.
Yeah.
So it's like, even a tone knob, that's another resistance that's added to it. Like, so I don't need it. I don't use it. I never roll it down. I just full bore.
And then on the guitar, are you adjusting the volume of that, or are you with the dynamics of the songs?
Every now and then I might kind of roll something up, or if I'm not near a mute, I might do that. But
because you guys do have such different sounds throughout, even just a song, let alone a record, like Quiet, like Tundra or something, where it's the dynamics will change in such a degree where you have clean and then it goes right into some like.
That's what this looks as ridiculous it is. It's for clean stuff.
Okay.
The heavy stuff all day long.
Okay.
Like, he's like, all right, man, I got that dialed in. That was been my biggest challenge with this band is to like reel it in and like dynamics. And I'm too clumsy for
like a volume pedal.
Volume pedal, and then it just seems like they suck the tone out. Like, and I'll be like too loud, too quiet.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask Trevor because he uses the foot pedal, and it's like in a sense of like, do you ever feel like you're too much or too much?
Yeah, dude, I don't have that.
I got
I don't know what
big
it
foot,
is.
and it's like no.
No, so I do all that with my pedal board. I basically adjust my signal path and my dynamics kind of per song. Like I know what the set list is, and it maybe takes a few shows to where I kind of get it right, which is the downside. But you don't want to see me messing around with the foot pedal.
So if you're gonna come see Pelican, come see them towards the end of the tour when Dallas is his tone setting.
Yeah. If I don't blow something up, yeah.
Speaking of that, before we get to your pedal board, amps, and this one survived the show because you tell me last night did not. It did not. You said
I think it was the power. I just got this guy at Carter Vintage in Nashville, my good buddy Bro and Zach Allen. It's 2006. Reissue. Supposedly Peter Frampton owned it. It was part of Peter Frampton's backline.
He's got a lot of amps.
And it looks. I've already put more blemishes on it, and this has been its first little run. And I think there was a spike last night. It cut out, but then tonight it sounded great. Yeah. And
I even saw you during the last song. You came up and really. You pushed it.
Loudest. I tell you, it's 2. Most of the show was like 1.5.
I did see you come back though. I saw you.
The last part, and then the PA blew. I was like, well, I'm gonna hit my loop pedal. I don't know.
So have you done anything to this since you've gotten it, or
no? I'm kind of all the research I've done. I bought a Plexi in 2000. I reissue the circuit board one. Yeah. In 2004, and I blew it up twice. And then my buddy Jeff Heim, who does Heim Amplification in Nashville, I was like, dude, this thing keeps dying on me. And he's like, all right, I'll look at it. And I'm like, what? I don't know, what tube should I put in? He's like, you should do wing Cs, man. Put wing Cs. And this was in 2007. It's just a circuit board, unmodded. And after that amp, it hasn't been serviced in 11 years. And it beats this one. It beats this one.
So
it's
so you're saving it.
I'm like, these tubes are 11 years old. And I'm like, this is my sound.
So you're going to use it for the new record?
Yeah, I'm saving it for the recording, and that's why I bought this one. I was like, well, the hand-wired one's supposed to be better. And I was reading on, message boards and stuff, and they were like, oh, well, the hand-wired one's a lot more smooth, and the circuit board one's more harsh. Opposite. This one's way more harsh, and my circuit board one's way smoother. I don't know if it's the tubes, just the minutia that I blew it up twice, and how I got fixed up, but I don't want to touch it, man. The last tour we did with it, I was like, I've been playing guitar 30 years, and I'm finally happy with my sound. And then it like terrified me. I'm like, oh my God, this thing's about to die, So I was like, there's
the mortality of your tone.
Yeah, and then I have a buddy in Chicago. He plays in an awesome band called Electric Hawk, and he has those Wizard amps. So he got me down the Wizard wormhole, and then I was like, all right. And I scraped up all my pennies, and I bought one used, and I was like, all right, man. And then I got it, and then I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then I A-beat it with that circuit board, just stock Plexi. When I got it, I was a friend with a manager that worked at the Guitar Center, and he got me a super deal on it, 2004. Yeah. I think I paid $1,400 for it. How many years is 2004? Are that 14 years?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. Ate the Wizard for breakfast. It's like military grade, AC/DC dude built it, and it slayed it. And then I called the dude. I'm like, dude, I don't want this amp.
You were telling me before that the guy was not even home yet from dropping off the amp.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he's like, well, I'll eat some money off of it. I'll eat a couple $100 because I don't want to get back on Reverb or Craigslist and try to sell it. Yeah. I'm just getting another unmodded reissue Plexi. I'm a Plexi guy. It took me to learn that. I'm a Plexi guy. That's it.
You say that, but then you got this guy up here as a backup. So how did you get to the Mesa family, or at least you use that as a backup?
So here's my philosophy on that. So, and it's So when you start touring in bands, unless you're huge and you can afford freight and ship amps across the ocean or whatever, you're gonna use borrowed stuff or rented stuff. And typically you're not gonna have the amp that has your tone. So less and less do I want my tone baked into the amp, but I want something common I can find.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would start trying to order Marshalls, and they would either be modded or they're all master volumes. And if I get a master volume, I can't use my pedal board configuration.
Okay.
It screws me.
Yeah.
I'm screwed. If I get a JCM 800 or a 900 or a 2000, I'm screwed.
What's the kind of, I guess, communication gap? Why is in terms of your pedals?
It kind of depends.
With the master?
It could be show to show or whatever, the rental company or the promoter. You put in, hey, this is what I want. But they might be like, it's a Marshall 100 watt. A Plexi versus a JCM 2000 is a big difference, even though they're 100 watt Marshalls each. So I'm like, 1959 SLP, 4 inputs, like, and I'd still get the wrong one.
And no orange Skittles. No orange Skittles.
Yeah, you'd think you could get them. I mean, you still can. So where these guys, you can get these everywhere. You can get them in Russia. You can get them in Australia. You can get them in Europe. You can get them in the UK.
So Mesa's doing a good job distribution.
And, you know, they're not my favorite amp. They're not my favorite amp. I probably will not get a Mesa endorsement from this, but
how do you
do
it?
So there's a configuration, even the triple channel ones, typically the 2-channel ones tend to sound better normally. So what I do is I like the triple rectifier because it's slightly more headroom than the dual, and it kind of interacts similar to the Plexi because it doesn't compress the input. Like, I want to sculpt my tone on the front end.
Yeah.
Because we were flying to different places, I want some sort of consistency. But when an amp starts compressing the tone like master volumes do, I can't get it kills my dynamics, it kills my tone. But these guys, you turn the rectifiers off, you turn on the orange channel, you turn it to clean, and then you turn it to modern, and then kind of use whatever overdrive pedal you want. And it gets kind of the Guitar Center tone out of it. Like if you A/B like this Saldano into the clean channel, and then A/B it to the distortion, it just eats it for breakfast. It just eats, and I'm like, okay, well, these are more, so I'd kind of just order these guys just for consistency, not necessarily they're my favorite.
But you know how to interact with it.
I can make them work. And something happened, I think it got spiked last night, and I had to like, and I was like, pulling my pedal board apart, and then I had this, I knew, I was like, poop, 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 and then I finished the last song, you know, they're not my favorite tone. People, it's like, but the clean channel on these guys, if you're a pedal guy, are good. And I'm starting to feel like more non-master volume amps should maybe come to the forefront because the pedal market's just going crazy and the quality and just so much stuff.
Well, you can just do so much with a couple $100 in terms of shaping your tone versus, saving up to get something else like an amp or something.
That's where I'm just like, I just need something clean that doesn't compress what I'm doing. I want to control my compression. I want to control what I'm doing and I want some consistency. Because I'm gonna be flying somewhere with jet lag and then you gotta play a show and they send you the wrong stuff, or the airport loses your pedal board, and then there's like 2,000 people like, play, and they're like running around for 9-volt batteries and trying to tape pedals, like, So after that happened a few times, I'm like, okay, I kind of like on the front end, I want more boutique stuff, like a custom-made guitar, like a custom pedal. But the farther away I get from the chain, I want to get like the Guitar Center stuff that you can find everywhere.
Gotcha.
If something breaks, you can make it work. You know what it is. But I still want enough knowledge to get the Guitar Center tone out of it, and still. So that's kind of. That's all.
The philosophy behind that.
Yeah.
So can I twist your arm and get you to maybe put on your number one and kind of walk us through your tone shaping here?
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, this one has the 500K pot, and then that's the lace finger burner, all mahogany, and so with my pedal board, everything is into that loop switcher, which actually I read a review in Premier Guitar, which made me decide to buy that.
Name drop.
Because I couldn't, all the other ones have like USB ports. And I'm like, I mean, I have a computer and I have a phone, but when it comes to my guitar rig, I'm a Luddite. There would not be a USB port on any of my stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty like,
I can't do it.
I'm a caveman too.
I can't do it. I just can't. Even if it sounded better, I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything, basically all the pedals go into this guy. And then my main sound is this Saldano Supercharger, which they don't make anymore.
That thing's huge.
So basically this is my kind of loudest sound.
Okay.
Like this is like boom, like the main.
So like I was gonna ask, like something would be like Dead Between or like Mammoth is like that sort. It's like
I
just
would be hitting that. I would hit that. I would hit that. And then everything is quieter than that. This is the bass line. So this is as loud as it's gonna get. When I hit this button, it's just the switcher in that.
Okay.
So it's none of this stuff in the chain. So it's basically one pickup, one knob,
500K.
switcher, 500K, to the Saldano to the amp.
Okay.
And that's it.
Can we hear that? I mean,
Yeah.
We gotta hear this magic.
So, so this is just the Saldano. The Neighbors. I think it's the only pedal you're gonna hear tonight.
So maybe we can bring it down a little bit?
Maybe that was 1.5.
We can try. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You already got paid, I think, right?
Yeah. We blew up the PA too. Is that too loud? I don't know. Okay,
no
man.
worries.
Sorry.
There you have it. We tried.
You gotta come to the show. You gotta come to the show to hear it.
Yeah,
I guess.
comments can be put there, but at least we tried. We do get that. Dallas, you tried. All right, so we got some doors closed.
All right. Well, there's one other pedal I have to talk about before we get cut off. So this guy right here is about as important as this one. So the reason all this exists is because this is my main heavy tone, but dude, it just wants to crush. If you want to bring any dynamics down, it's a battle. If you turn it off, it changes the filtering. It doesn't interact the same. So what I do is for my clean stuff is it runs this into that, which is a dispatch matcher, which is a cavernous EQ. They're awesome. Everyone should own one of these. These are awesome. And then it hits this guy, which is Bogner Lagrange. And this is the only thing I've found that rivals this, and it's way more versatile. Like you can configure the low end, like it's a plexi, outboard plexi mod. So that's why I don't want a modded plexi, because I can make this work.
Do you use that, or is that just like a back?
I use them both.
Okay.
I gained this one down. Like this is more overdrive.
Like is there like songs or certain like periods that you use it maybe that can give people a reference?
Yeah, so we're playing all new stuff now that we're about to record. And so this is all new configuration. So none of this is on any of the records.
Okay.
So a lot of this stuff has been developed for like what we're gonna be doing. But this guy is how I get my clean tone. It's a cut pedal. It cuts everything down. So this is as loud as it's gonna get. But I use this kind of as a compressor, basically. So it's cutting everything, goes into the EQ, hits this overdrive, but I gain it down, but it compresses it, so it makes the reverb bigger, and I can play jazz on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so clean. And then I can hit this button and be like, boom.
Roar again.
And then I could play, super pretty stuff. So basically it turns it almost into a 3-channel, a plexi into a 3-channel amp that I can carry with. So if I get even if I get a triple rectifier, just put on the clean channel, it interacts good enough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do you use the two different delays? Because the dispatch is a delay reverb, and that's a DD6. So
this guy basically, because I had an extra spot, I don't really need it. I use this just for like interludes, or if somebody breaks a string. you know, if we have to like, Trevor and I, like there's some technical difficulty, I can just do that when we do some loops.
Okay.
Like we kind of just start out and do like a loop to warm up and then play. So this is kind of to make noise. It's not essential. It's just a little bonus. Just basically what's essential is these guys. So
the board
after
behind
my
us.
pedal board got lost in the airport, I decided if I'm checking this, I got pretty much a comparable thing that I could, if this gets destroyed, I can make this work.
Yeah.
You give me a loud, clean amp in this, and I can do a show. And I can carry it on a plane. So yeah, it's pretty much.
You obviously got the dispatch and the Lagrange, and this is probably taking the place of the EQ.
Yeah, I have another detox EQ, but they stopped making those. So I was like, this does it pretty well. This is actually more versatile than that. It cuts and boosts. It does like a 20 dB boost, which is awesome.
Wow.
This doesn't really boost much. It barely boosts. It's only cut. It has a weird thing it does. It's got a little prettier sheen, but they don't make them anymore. So I'm kind of like, well, maybe I should go with that guy. Because if it gets lost or breaks, then, you know,
it's replaceable.
It's replaceable, and it's awesome, man. It's a total Swiss Army knife pedal. So, and then the Lagrange, like, so I love this one so much. I was like, I'm gonna buy another one before they change the circuit, because I think they've been out like 2 years. I'm like, people get wind of these things, they'll mass produce them, they'll change the circuit. I'm like, and dude, this guy, you give me a Plexi and that, it's basically an outboard Plexi mod. That's what, so.
With the Lagrange, obviously, it's a nod to ZZ Top, so yeah.
But you can do like high on fire tone with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, the gain structure, you can do the gain structure. You can do a Van Halen Variac simulator. You can do the low end, you can shape it loose, mid, or super tight. It even has the jump channel of a Plexi. You can adjust like if you were jumping the channels on a Plexi. So I'm like, don't mod the fucking Plexi. Don't put master volume on it.
Yeah.
And you give me that pedal, you can adjust. It's an outboard Plexi mod, basically. And dude, that's where it kind of beats the Saldano, because you can configure
it's a little more
it.
Flexible.
So if I get a different amp that maybe is compressing more, you can even adjust the gain stage. Like you can control it more, so like, and you can fit it in your pocket. This guy, ground hum, like it's like, oh.
How long have you had that thing?
I've had it, I got it in like 2003, 2004. Yeah, I have two of them. I have another one at home in the box that's like my backup. I get two of everything. I got two Plexis, I got two, except for the switcher. I got two SGs, I got two of everything.
What's with the zip tie?
So I hit bypass because this is kind of gained down. So if you hit, this turns off, the clean channel's louder than the distortion, about bonk, bonk, and I kept hitting it. So my buddy Patrick, he did sound for us. He was like, dude, put a zip tie on that, and then done.
There you go, folks.
Yeah,
that's a cool fix.
So another thing that keeps my pedal thing from not growing too bad is like I buy two of everything. Like I commit to a pedal. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if I'm going to use it, it costs twice as much money. So I'm like, well, this pedal's $200. That's $400 I got to pay. So it's like, am I going to use it? Is it practical? So
you're kind of a hoarder, Dallas.
No, but I get two of them, so it slows me down, because if I was getting one of everything, I might get out of control. So I don't know.
Killer, man.
Any other questions, or?
I think I've buzzed the tower enough here. I'm gonna talk to Trevor, dude.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Killer, thank you. All right, other side of the stage, Trevor. Trevor, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. This is, again, after the show. Unheard of. First time we've ever done this, so thank you. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, for sure.
You were a longtime SG guy. Obviously, Dallas has his kind of conglomeration guitars over there, but you have his traditional SG, and this is from the 70s, right?
It is, yeah. I picked this up in a pawn shop in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, there's like a really good pawn shop on the west side. Don't want to talk about it too much
names.
because there's some gems there. But they told me it was a 71. I have checked the serial number against different databases of SGs, and it doesn't come up, so there's some sort of Frankensteining that has happened to it over the years that I'm not aware of.
Okay, and so we'll just say early 70s.
Presumably, yeah.
Okay.
It seems to match that profile.
And then have you done anything to it since you've gotten it to make it kind of more of the Trevor machine?
Not a whole lot, honestly. There's Seymour Duncan's pickups in it. But aside from that, it's pretty much as it was when I got it.
Do you know particular to kind of give people at home like what kind of the actual, I guess, the models they are?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay.
It was quite a long time ago that I swapped them out.
Do you know if they're like more high output or like low output?
They are high output,
okay.
yeah.
Cool. And for strings, are you using Diodario? I think that's what Dallas is using?
We use the same string setup.
Okay.
So the Diodario J22s.
Cool. 13 to 56?
Yep.
Cool. And you're also to B, obviously? Tuned to B?
B standard.
Cool. And guitar picks, what do you use for that?
I use the Dunlop Tortex 73 millimeter, the yellow ones.
Have you always been kind of that spot, or has it kind of been moving around?
More or less. I mean, I used to use heavier picks at one time, but I find that it's easier to do the galloping with the lighter picks.
And
that's something that kind of developed early in the Pelican sound. Laurent was really, our former guitar player, was really into these intricate galloping patterns, which gave me a run for my money, but it was also trial by fire, and I think it made me a better guitar player. But yeah, I think a lot of that stuff, to get it intricate and nailed in tight, like having the somewhat lighter picks were better. But going any lighter than a 73, I found that it was too floppy. I really like to dig in when I'm playing.
As we witnessed, Perry and I were here in the crowd. We saw that.
I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that like playing really hard is part of where my tone comes from.
Yeah.
You know, so.
The attack, obviously.
Yeah.
And is this a guitar that you use like through your other projects? I know obviously Tusk before that, and obviously currently with the Relayer.
Yeah, I used to have a shitty Jackson that I used in Tusk.
I think we've all had shitty Jacksons. Nothing against Jacksons, but that's kind of like the entry point.
Yeah, no, totally. It was a cheap, like, it was a $400 Jackson.
That's one of the first guitars I had too.
Exactly, and I used to use the whammy bar, and that it was fun in Tusk. But once we started Pelican, I started using this, and then after a certain period of time, I transitioned this into Tusk, and then has this been my primary guitar ever since.
And then also use this with Relayer too then?
Indeed, yeah.
Cool. Amps. I've seen you with Marshalls, 800s, 900s, Twins, Fenders, Ampeg. How'd you get here?
So, it's complicated. It's been a long journey. I think when we started, I was using the Mesa triple rectifier. That's the backup on Dallas's side of the stage. You probably saw over there. When we started touring more frequently, and especially doing fly-in shows and like touring Europe and having to rent backline, I found that it was hard to find the Mesa heads that sounded right to me. And especially when you're doing like festivals and those sorts of things, like Marshall JCM 900 is the easiest amp to find anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you can dial it in to your sound, that's the ideal scenario. So I started relying really on that sound, and that's how I got into the JCM 800 that I used for many, many years in Pelican.
Wasn't that a weird combination of? I remember reading somewhere it was like a 2-channel 900, so it was like towards the end of the 800s, the first production of the 900 type thing.
Correct. Yeah. So it was a slim period of years where the 800s were 2-channel.
Okay.
And I had a JCM 900, but it didn't sound quite right, and that 800 really nailed the tone. And I was able, when we were touring, to find 900s that I was able to kind of make a simulation of that. But I started to grow frustrated because I feel like Pelican sounds best when the guitar has like a beefier low end. And there was a time recently that we went out west and I used a Sun Model T and with a rat pedal, which is what is in my current setup, and it was just so beefy and perfect.
Yeah.
And I realized that I wanted to go more in that direction. I had an Ampeg V4 laying around that has some issues with it, and then a friend of mine was selling this one recently, and I just went in on it because I wanted one that didn't have the other one I have. It has like buzzing issues, and many techs have looked at it and haven't really been able to track it down. So
it's somewhere inside the machine.
So it was like I tried that one at a Pelican practice, and it was like, that's it. That's my tone. But I needed one that didn't have the buzz, and I tracked this one down. And this is the first tour I've ever used it on, but I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, it's got the beefy low end, but then the mids are really like saturated, and it just sounds very heavy.
So like I asked kind of Dallas a little bit, since you guys don't have vocals or you have one song with vocals, you have a lot more kind of area to run through in terms of like sounds and sonic space. So like what do you think of in terms of like your recipe that you're working obviously at points with Dallas going, you know, similar lines, if not exactly identical stuff, but there's different parts where you're interweaving parts. And where do you see like your formula in terms of like, are you a little more heavy in the bass end and then he's kind of more mid-range, or is it, you guys think about that?
I would say that a lot of this stuff comes more intuitively. I think we don't, at least the way I approach it, I don't really try to think about how it's going to sound when it's finished. I just try to live in the moment when we're writing, and I think that sort of stuff comes out naturally in the writing process as a result. It's like just sort of going by feel until things sound right.
Yeah.
And I think that the interweaving stuff, that's just all sort of like a natural element of that writing and jamming.
Gotcha. And speaking of that, I know this isn't a gear question, but you guys, Dallas was telling me before we had the show and everything, was that Forever Becoming was kind of a record that you guys wrote and then toured on. This stuff, you guys played at least half the set was new stuff.
Right.
How has that experience been so far, playing the new stuff before everyone else hears it and also before you guys finalize it on a record?
For us, that was always how Pelican was up until Forever Becoming. We always used to bust out new stuff and like kind of like debut the songs live before we would record them. And that way we were able to give the song space to breathe and grow. And we would get to learn more about the intricacies of them in an environment that they were like intended for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's kind of their whole being.
Right, exactly.
Concert.
Forever Becoming was kind of the outlier in that regard. We only played like 2 of those songs live before we recorded the album. And when we toured it, like the songs continued to grow and evolve. And for me, and I think the rest of the guys, I think we all just sort of like craved the way that it used to be.
Yeah.
Where the songs kind of like have that chance to kind of grow in front of people before we go and document them.
Yeah.
And also the writing process for this album has just been much longer.
I heard a lot of Dropbox too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Dropbox and like the rehearsals are pretty sparse and spread out. So I feel like doing this and really getting to learn the songs in front of people kind of helps.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm looking forward to the result of all of that.
And you guys do have studio time booked, right? So it's going to happen, and hopefully we'll get a record in 2019.
For sure.
Cool.
Absolutely.
I love the 2013 one. It's been quite some time since we got some Pelican jams.
We're very excited to deliver a new album finally.
Before we move on to Pedalboard, is there anything we should know about this cab? It's there's no marking on it, so I don't know what kind of make it is, but speaker-wise, anything special?
It's a Red Bear with vintage 30s.
Okay.
I actually borrowed it from Dallas because my cab blew up before we left for tour. So.
Cool. Is that normally a speaker that you would choose? Like
that's what's in my Emperor cab at home.
Okay, cool. Pedalboard time. So talk to me about kind of you're kind of anti-Dallas in terms of you have volume pedals. So that's how you control your dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been the case for me ever since The Fire in Our Throats Will Beckon the Thaw. On that record, I got a lot more into like, there was a lot of switching between clean channel and distorted channel, and then I grew more accustomed to controlling the dynamics with the volume pedal and being able to scale back and having different like waves of distortion coming and going. And that became pretty integral.
And so assuming when this is blowing, it's going hard and heavy, and then you're controlling everything. So like, a song like Tundra or something, that you will have, that you're controlling your clean tone by just backing off the pedal?
Exactly, yeah. When I'm going like semi-clean, it's usually just a matter of scaling back, and that way when the heavy part is about to hit, I can like actually surge into it instead of just like clipping it on.
Got it.
And I appreciate being able to control it on that level.
Do you ever, you've probably been using it so long that it's almost become like a third hand in the way that you can negotiate the pedal down, because it's, sometimes getting used to the throw of the pedal, you're like, oh, too far, it could be touchy, but I'm sure that's the thing that you've kind of figured out over trial.
Yeah, I feel like the more live shows you do, the more it becomes easy. I used to use an Ernie Ball for many years, and then Mike from Russian Circles turned me onto this new Dunlop Volume X, and that was a really hard adjustment because I was so used to the trim pod on that Ernie Ball that had a little bit more resistance. This one is adjustable, but the way it came, it was just so loose. It was very, very difficult to nail, but I've got it dialed in now.
Cool. And so moving through your signal chain, I guess, just talk me through your pedals and how you use them.
So first up is the Rat, which is my main distortion.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it on most of the time, except for the very, very clean stuff.
All right.
Like I said, like some of the stuff that's not quite as clean, it's just scaled back on the Dunlop into the Rat. But yeah, that's just a marginal amount of the time. After that, I've got the Mxr Micro Amp, which I use for the extremely heavy stuff.
Okay.
I use that very sparingly just to like blast it out. You know what I mean?
And is that like, I imagine maybe the pedals down, Rats on, MXR's on for like parts like March to the Sea or anything, because even during the set, I know you didn't play that song, but not to discredit that, but you're like driving the headstock into the cab. You guys use feedback in such a way where it's not just, we're filling up space or we're gonna kill this until the next song. It's almost musical. It becomes a part of the instrument that you guys kind of harness in a way that makes it part of the song and enriches the experience.
Yeah, I love feedback.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get it under control. Because like feedback, I feel like a lot of people associate feedback with things that are out of control or like where it's starting to get away from you. But like if you can get it under control, which is a lot of like the putting the headstock against the cabinet and getting the wood to vibrate together, then like it's just like a beautiful, beautiful sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the micro amp is more for like the final moment of the climax of the song. Like when you hit the emotional crescendo, it like really brings an extra element to it.
Do you feel that that's what happened both times when you powered down this side of the stage? Is when the micro amp came on?
Yeah, one of the songs was the title track from our next album, Nighttime Stories, and it was like almost immediately after I clicked that on for the final riff, it was like.
So for those that you won't hear until it comes out in the record, know that that's going to be heavy as hell.
Theoretically, we'll see. Hopefully it comes across.
All right, so we got through the kind of the gnarly stuff with the Rat and the MXR. What else we got?
Then I have some more like tone-oriented pedals. I have the Earthquaker Organizer, which is it's sort of like an octave pedal that's meant to emulate the sound of an organ.
All right.
There are settings to have one octave up and one octave down. I turn off the sub. I just use it for the higher octave, and I use it on leads that I want to have a specifically peculiar sound to them.
Were you doing that on that one part of the? It was one of the new songs, so I don't know the name, but it was. Were you doing like the hammer-ons, like the one of the last songs of the set?
Yeah, it's called Cold Hope. And
okay, yeah. I could hear that then when you're doing the hammer-ons, and it was cool sound.
Yeah, that part has kind of like a psychedelic feel to it, and like I wanted it to feel like a little bit otherworldly.
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
That's how I felt.
And then after that, I have the Boss Phase Shifter, which is like a phaser pedal. I used to use that a lot in our the grindcore band that Larry and I were in called Tusk. We were like kind of like a psychedelic grindcore band, if that makes sense. And
I'm into it.
And the further we got into the weird esoteric stuff, that's when I started using the phase shifter. And it had been sitting in a drawer for a long time until this new Pelican stuff started taking more of a psychedelic dimension on some, because I feel like a lot of the newer material, because we've been writing it in the practice space, like all jamming together, and especially since like a lot of the songs have continued to develop live, like I felt like pulled back to that time period of Tusk.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that back into the mix, and I found some pretty cool places to use it.
Cool.
Obviously, it's like so pronounced of an effect that it's hard to integrate unless it's like a very particular part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun.
Cool. I love that. And what do you got with the Avalanche Run? How do you use that?
So I have two different delay pedals. One is more of a straightforward delay. The earthquake or avalanche run is my reverse delay, so I only use that sparingly as well. What I like about the avalanche run is that it has built-in reverb. One of the things that is tricky about using a reverse delay, I've found, is that if it's too clean, it can like really kind of walk on what's going on in the part. Mm-hmm. I think by having reverb built into that pedal, you're able to wash it out just a little bit so that it's like less, it's a little bit less in your face.
Okay.
And so yeah, I really enjoy it for that.
I saw you guys in 2014, and I did the old, I'm sure all you guys will know this move where you do the over the stage thing. I saw your pedal board. You had a DL4 and a DD6, so it's kind of like those the Nova and the Avalanche Run have taken spot of that.
Indeed, yeah,
okay,
for sure.
What did you like about the DL4? Because I know everyone's probably had one. We've all had one. I know Perry's had one, and we've all busted them. But we always buy them again. So what drew you to that DL4 for so long?
I just liked how many different styles of delay it emulated.
Yeah.
And the looping function was really awesome as well. And it's hard to find a looper that does what the DL4 does as well as the DL4 did. I just found that I was breaking them pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to trash talk?
No, you can. That's this. I said it.
I'm on my fifth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that pedal's made. It's fantastic. That's why we continue to buy them.
It's an amazing pedal, and I loved it so much. But
it is made of plastic.
But it's
Trevor.
It's $250, and like I was breaking them frequently. So so I decided to just try something different.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I used to use it especially for the tape echo function.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to use that delay so much, and I tried to replace it with the Boss Space Echo emulator pedal or whatever, and it just never sounded quite the same.
Yeah.
But we don't have any material that uses that tape echo.
So you almost
sound
like
anymore.
do you prefer like the almost? I know the Avalanche runs reverse and it has like kind of the trails, but the Nova, do you like how much more, I guess, not immediate, but almost exacting or precising it is than the tape was?
Not quite, because the thing that's awesome about the Nova is that it's got a color knob which lets you select between like a pure, clean digital delay and like what they term an analog delay.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite as analog sounding as the tape echo. In fact, not nearly, but it's a little bit more muted, and so it's like, again, it's kind of like what I was saying about the Avalanche Run and the reverb built into it. It's like less in your face. So it just like, it has that pure cleanness, but it kind of like takes the edge off of having so much delay-ishness, for lack of a better term.
Oh, it's a perfect term. And then you got the Boomerang. Is that something you use a lot, or is it just kind of in between songs, or fill space, or when power goes out?
The Boomerang came into the mix for my other band, Relayer, because I'm the only guitarist in Relayer, and my pedal board is actually, there's a lot more
I was going to ask how much translates between the bands. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have such a big pedal board, is because in Relayer, I fill this thing up because I'm the only guitar player. And I've got more space to fill.
Yeah.
And I do a lot more looping type stuff in that band.
Okay.
But it's hard to pull off the pedal board. And then there's also some places in the Pelican set where it comes in handy. Not really in between songs so much, but there are a couple parts where stuff starts getting intense and noisy, and I like just like laying on a loop and make it get real chaotic.
Yeah, even more so.
That's a great pedal. It's got like a lot of functions that I really appreciate. What I've found to be really advantageous about the Boomerang over what I used to use, the DL4, is that you have 3 independent loops that can all be running at the same time. So you can build like an ambient wash and then start playing a part and then loop that and then fade the ambient wash out.
Yeah.
And then you've got the one thing left.
Just a lot more versatility.
Yeah, it's just, and like I do some solo stuff too, like some solo shows, and I have a solo record, and when I'm playing live, I'm able to use that to a considerable degree in that environment.
And then last but not least, you got the Big Sky.
Yeah, that's a very recent addition to the pedal board. What I like about the Big Sky is it's a very nice, clean reverb. I used to use the Boss RV5, which a great pedal. I loved it, and I really used the mod function on it a lot, which has like a little bit more of like a chorusy sound to it. But what I like about the Big Sky is that There's 99 presets.
Because I mean, you need that.
So you can have a different reverb for every song, and you know, it's just really handy in that regard, and it's just super versatile, and it's got a hold function, which I think is really handy too. I haven't built it into the Pelican set at all yet, except last night I was having horrible tuning issues. And you know, we try to build our set so that some of the songs are paired together, so that there's not so many breaks in between the songs and stuff. So there was one song where I was badly out of tune, and I was supposed to go straight into the next song, and I just threw that on, did the hold function, tuned really quickly, and you know, 30 seconds wasted, but not badly.
Not unbeknownst to the crowd, they didn't know anything was going on.
They just thought
that was part of the show.
Yeah, it's just like some ambient stuff going on.
I do love, and I'm sure it wasn't on any of the stuff that I'm about to mention, but like Arctica, like the reverb on like Creeper, and then a lot of that stuff where it's like, even you get the spring, I don't know at the time where, you know, you're getting the spring rattle. Did you guys have a spring reverb on that? Or was it like an emulated pedal?
That Arctica was a very peculiar record because we were playing in St. Petersburg, on borrowed gear. Our sound guy at the time used to bring like a portable recording rig, and he would just record all the shows. And you know, we did like a whole European tour, and then these 2 Russian shows at the end. And we thought we would go through all of the recordings and make like a compilation of a live record. Yeah. And we just couldn't find the right recording until we happened upon that one, and it was great, which was exceedingly peculiar because we were playing out of the worst borrowed gear you can possibly imagine. Like, I think I was playing out of like a solid state Marshall or something like that. I mean, it just was a ragtag bunch of crap.
Well, I loved how it sounded. So.
Yeah, but that's what's amazing, is somehow it worked.
Yeah, and this is not related to the Rig Rundown. It's not on the set list, but if I could ever get a chance to ask Trevor this, I was going to ask you this. The song Untitled on Australasia, there's like, is it like electric saw? Is it an EBO? Is it what is going on?
That is my buddy Andrew First playing singing saw. He he taught himself how to play singing saw. He just came into the studio like out of a toolbox, you know, just like bowing a saw, and he knows how to bend notes. And I don't even know if he knows how to do that anymore. It was just something he taught himself how to do that summer. I was like, we got to get that on the record.
We got to get this on the song. We're not going to call it anything. We're going to untitle the song, but you need to put it on a song.
Yep.
But yeah, I've always heard that song. I was just like, what is that? Because it's so beautiful, just like any of the sounds that you guys compile for a record or a song, and it was just caught my ear, and I'm like, well, I know they're not going to play it, but I got to ask. Thank you very much, Trevor. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Before I forget.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't mention the radial JDX box.
That's right.
So one of the things that we do is in between the head and the cabinet, we run a radial JDX, which is a cab emulator. And one of the things that's good about this is that you blend it with the mic coming out of the amp, and at the front of the house, you're able to have, again, a little bit more control over the sound of the guitars. It comes especially in handy in the monitors because a mic'd guitar, it's a little bit out of control at points. So.
And then Dallas was saying that you actually used some of that for the Arctica record, was that it was blended in, and you guys actually used the direct sound on that. So that's what we're also hearing too, is a direct sound from the JDX.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is rad. All right, Trevor, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Guitar, Rig Rundown.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the latest Rig Rundown. Guess what? Every week we upload a brand new Rig Rundown to PremierGuitar.com a full week before it's available here on YouTube. So to get your gear fix as soon as humanly possible, go to PremierGuitar.com/Rig Rundown. And while you're there, be sure to sign up to get an email notification so you're the first to know as soon as each week's new Rig Rundown is available. Cheers, see you soon.